Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stunt Fight TV Live. This is episode 5, where we'll be talking about the evolution of editing. Well, again, not exactly the evolution, but we'll just give you an idea of how two different versions of the same footage can give you a complete different outcome. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Philippe Deseck, and I'm a stunt actor / assistant stunt coordinator, and have been working in the film industry for over 25 years. My true passion is shooting action, designing action, editing action, etc. And in this whole series, we'll attempt to show you what it takes to put a fight scene together, or a whole action sequence together. So what we'll talk about is I have the same footage that was edited by two different people. So I'll show you one version that was edited by someone else and one version that was edited by me. So it's a bit similar to what we did in episode 4, but now we have a different footage done by different people, and then we can quickly do a quick comparison and a breakdown of the two action sequences. So I'll play you the sequence that I showed you in episode 2 of Stunt Fight TV Live, which is the fight scene between Paris and David. So I've got a first version, and then I'll show you a second version, and then we can break it down. So without further ado, let's play the first version. Excellent. So this is the first version that was edited by someone else. So what we'll do now is we'll play the second one that was edited by myself, and then we'll do a quick comparison, and then we can see what the differences are with the same footage but edited by two different people. Excellent. So these are the two versions. Now, as you can see, in the first version, there are quite a few differences. Even though the editing is quite similar, there are still quite a few differences. So if you go back to the first one, we can see, for instance, one of the big differences is that the color grading is very different. They've used a different soundtrack. Also, getting into the fight scene, they've used different sound effects, which gives it, again, a completely different feel. And something else that they've done differently is the speed ramping. So the speed ramping is different in different parts. For instance, here we've got slow motion coming to the kick. The kick is then in slow motion, then fast motion, which is okay. I mean, it kind of worked really well as well. And to be honest, I mean, I don't actually mind this version of the fight scene. The editor put his own little spiel to it, and I think he did a really good job of putting it together, you know. And again, the question is, you know, is there such a thing as a bad or a good version, or not so much of a bad or a good version, but a wrong or a right version, you know? Because I mean, the first rule in filmmaking is that, you know, there are no rules, but there are guidelines, you know, and we all have our different way of interpretation, different way of seeing things, and we all put our own little spiel on things. So I don't actually mind this version, as you can see here. So we'll just do a quick little comparison to mine. For instance, in this scene, when he gets thrown onto the ground, it's in slow motion, and then he runs up to David in fast motion. There you go, he runs up in fast motion, jump kicks in slow motion, kicks him in slow motion, lands, and then the scene continues. So when you compare it to my version, I'll just do a quick comparison just at the end scene. So he comes down as well in slow motion. There you go. As you can hear, I've got a different sound, different sound effects as well. And from there, I went straight to the kick. From getting up, from the last punch, sorry, straight into the kick, fast motion. And so I didn't bother showing that in slow motion because I thought I wanted to have that end a little bit more snappier and get straight to the point of the knockout, when he kicks him down. And also, you will see that in the first version, and again, I mean, it's not to say that it's wrong or right, but what I did, I deliberately got rid of that little jump that he does. As you can see, he kicks. As he lands, he does a little hop. And in my version, you know, I didn't really like that little hop, so I just got rid of it. And there's lots of ways that you can get rid of things. So what I did, I went straight from the kick to a different angle. So you see here, you don't really see the little hop because I didn't like the hop in the kick. So in the editing, there are a lot of different things that you can do to camouflage things, to get rid of things. So it gives you a lot of creativity, and that's what I like about the editing process, is that it's a really creative process. And also it depends on how you film things, and that's one of the reasons I don't really like to film in master shots, because when you shoot in master shots, you kind of lose a little bit of creativity in the editing. Whereas if you shoot things in montage cutting, so you shoot things in sections, you have that ability to cut in different places. You have the ability to make a fight scene look really snappy, a lot slower. You can change the pacing. So there's a lot of ways that you can get around, and you don't necessarily have to edit in sequence as well. When you film things in segments, you can afford to take segments from the end of the fight scene, put it in the beginning, put the beginning in the middle, and you can kind of change the whole look of a fight scene the way you would like it to look. Whereas if you shoot things in a master shot, then you're really limited to your creativity and what you can do to the fight scene. So again, the main differences in the first one with my one is the color grading. So you can see there's a different color grading. We have different sound effects. The speed ramping is done differently in different places. Let's go back to some speed ramping. There you go. Let's go a little bit further. There you go. So here I've got slightly different speed ramping. So slow motion as well, and then fast motion, which I did mine in all fast motion. So yeah, these are probably the main differences. You know, in some films I've heard that they go through like sometimes 5 different editors because the actor is not really happy with how the editors do the edit for the action sequences. And I guess it is quite a difference editing for a drama piece or an action sequence. And for some reason, sometimes production companies hire editors for an action movie, and they only edit drama, and then they get hired to edit action films, and they don't seem to be able to pull it off that well. So I'm not really sure why sometimes production companies will hire someone that has never actually edited an action sequence and get them to do it. And it doesn't really always work out because editing an action sequence is a little bit different to a drama, even though the principles are kind of the same. But again, it all depends on what look you want to give the movie. You know, sometimes the actor wants to see more of his face in the edit. Sometimes the editor wants to see more of the storyline coming through. So we all have different views, different opinions, and I guess, you know, if you get employed for a job, then you got to kind of sometimes you got to put your ego and your vision aside, and you got to work with the ego and the vision of someone else because they're the ones paying the bill. Unfortunately, you know, and the same thing like an idea. And if you shoot and you edit yourself, then you're really attached to your work, and because you've put so much work and effort into it, you're trying to show as much as you can in the whole scene, and you're trying to include all the little scenes and all the little things. And sometimes, you know, it might be a little bit too much. And you've got to be able to let go of that, which is really hard if you've done all the work yourself, you know. Another good example is with, for instance, with Jaws, with Steven Spielberg. I mean, the editor did a completely different job than how Steven Spielberg would have edited, because Steven Spielberg wanted to see more of the shark, and the editor said, no, you've got to see less of the shark. The less you see of the shark, the scarier it is, you know. And eventually he kind of agreed and said, yes, you're absolutely right, you know. Because you're so attached to your work, you want to try and put as much as you can, and you want the audience to see as much of your work as possible. But sometimes less is more, you know. And then again, you know, in my opinion, when you film fight scenes, I like to see more of the fight, more of the punches, as opposed to cutting them short. But that's just the way I like to work. That's the place I come from. But I guess, you know, in general, it also depends on the whole feel and look of the film, and it has to kind of also match with the drama parts of the film. So when the drama and the action kind of match, then it kind of makes sense. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, this is just to give you a quick idea of how editing can make a huge difference in the outcome of your film. So again, we had an example here of 2 exactly the same scenes edited by 2 different people with a different outcome. So hit the chat box down below if you'd like, and you can always put down if you preferred the first version or the second version of the edits. And again, I mean, there's no right or wrong. It just sometimes just comes down to preference. So thank you very much again for listening to episode 5 of Stunt Fight TV Live. And again, like I mentioned in all my episodes, I do run an online course teaching actors how to stunt fight. And if you're interested, I'll put some more details on this post. And you can always visit my websites or my YouTube channel at Action Movie Makers Training, or my website, which is actionmoviestraining.com. And yes, you can get some more information if you are interested in becoming a stunt fighter, or if you'd like to know more about stunt fighting. So my name is Philippe Deseck. Thank you very much for listening to this episode, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you, and good night.